Belarus is occupied right now. It's like occupied France during Second World War, and Lukashenko is like Vichy's regime, like Marshal Pétain. He gave up Belarus sovereignty in order to help Putin to start invasion against Ukraine. But Belarusians, they didn't agree, and they started partisan movement. And as you remember, in March and April, more than 80 acts of sabotage took place on Belarusian railways. Railway connection with Ukraine were disrupted. More than 30,000 people are sending photos and videos of Russian troops to Ukrainian army. So it's a huge resistance underground.
Do we have any idea of the numbers of people who are crossing over from Belarus into Ukraine to fight against Russia? Because clearly it comes with a backdrop in your country of people being unhappy with the leader and a significant movement against him.
Yes, it's true for us. This war started not in 2022, but in 2020. We didn't know back then, when the revolution had started in Belarus, that Putin was preparing the attack on Ukraine. And many people who were imprisoned, jailed, or repressed in Belarus, they decided to support Ukraine because they see Ukrainian fight for freedom as our joint common fight. And right now, hundreds of them are moving first to Poland, are being trained there, and then from Poland they move to Ukraine. It's hard to estimate, but I think it's from 500 to 2,000 Belarusians who are joining Belarusian battalions, but also Ukrainian battalions, and are participating in the most harsh battles.
Are you surprised that Belarusians are prepared to put their lives on the line in Ukraine?
I'm not surprised because, first of all, I know my people. I know that Belarusians, and value their independence, their freedom, their democracy, and because Belarusians have very deep connections with Ukraine. Both of our nations were fighting Russian empire for many, many centuries. You know, we had more than 12 huge wars in the Middle Ages, both Ukraine and Belarus against Russia. And right now we are fighting both for our existence, for very existence of our nations, because if Ukraine fails, there will not be chance for democracy in Belarus. All of us understand it very well.
How do people feel generally that Belarus has been sucked into this by allowing Russian missiles targeting Ukraine to enter the country and to effectively use Belarus as a staging post for Russian attacks?
We were shocked. It was a new reality. We woke up in the occupied country. It's the fact. Belarus is occupied right now. It's like occupied France during Second World War, and Lukashenko is like Vichy's regime, like Marshal Pétain. He gave up Belarus sovereignty in order to help Putin to start invasion against Ukraine. But Belarusians, they didn't agree, and they started partisan movement. And as you remember, in March and April, more than 80 acts of sabotage took place on Belarusian railways. Railway connection with Ukraine were disrupted. More than 30,000 people are sending photos and videos of Russian troops to Ukrainian army. So it's a huge resistance underground, which makes Russian army very uncomfortable in Belarus.
People will remember the pictures of the really violent crackdown on opponents to Alexander Lukashenko. And of course, he survives because of the support of Vladimir Putin. What is the democracy movement like in Belarus at the moment? Are there protests? Are there violent crackdowns? Just give us a sense of what the situation is right now in your country.
Oh, protests on the streets are impossible. We are living like in Stalin times. We are living like in Gulag. 2 years ago, you could be jailed 15 days of arrest. Now it's 15 years. More than 20 people are facing death penalty right now, including partisans who stopped Russian military equipment. More than 55,000 have been detained. 700 NGOs have been closed, 300 media outlets. So protests impossible, but there is the partisan movement. And more than 200,000 people joined, subscribed to mobilization plan It's how we called partisan movement, underground movement, and they do small acts of sabotage and diversions almost every week. They protest against Russian occupation, against Russian troops, but also against Lukashenko's dictatorship.
Do you feel that your safety is at risk because of you speaking out against the regime?
We are constantly receiving death threats. I work with Svetlana Tsihanouskaya. She is the target for Russian FSB and for Lukashenko's KGB. We know that 5,000 of KGB employees every day work to destroy us, to destroy Svetlana Tsihanouskaya. So we have to keep good morale. But we also have many supporters. We have many allies, United Kingdom, Brussels, Warsaw, Vilnius, Washington. They support Belarus democratic movement no matter what. We remember Ryanair hijacking, and we know that we can be the target. So we also work a lot on preserving safety for us and for our people.